Pasadena City College is a learning community within the indigenous homelands of people who have been known as the Gabrielino Band of Mission Indians of the Shishkawanga Village and Shishkish Nation. We acknowledge the painful history of genocide and forced removal from this land on which we gathered. We honor all indigenous people, past, present, and future, and their continued survival and contributions to our society. We also honor the legacy of the African diaspora and recognize that this country would not exist without the free enslaved labor of Black people. We share these acknowledgments to raise awareness about histories that are too often erased or forgotten, to recognize our place in this history, and to affirm our commitment to social justice, systemic change, and anti-racism.
All right, thank you. Thank you.
Let's just do it, because this is the last one.
Okay, so I know you all read through the meeting notes copiously, very closely. Are there any comments or corrections to the minutes from the last meeting?
I just want to add that Courtney is doing a fantastic job.
She is doing
way
a
better than
fantastic
me.
job.
Thank you, Courtney.
Great job, Courtney.
Yeah. Really nice.
And I'd like to welcome Lindsay Ruiz here. Congratulations on your victory. Welcome.
She's actually not here as part of the executive committee.
Oh, you're
She's
not?
visiting today.
Never
Yeah.
mind.
I will miss you.
Okay.
But you're welcome.
Okay.
She will July 1.
She will July 1. Okay.
Just
Well,
presenting today.
in advance for July 1. Nice job.
Thank you.
Okay. So hearing no concerns about the minutes, we'll move those along.
Okay.
Okay. So information items, superintendent president update, graduation tomorrow, 7 o'clock, hopefully in a dry Robinson Stadium. Be there or be square and just come to celebrate. We're very excited. Other than that, just thank God we are here. We have made it. The last few weeks have been awesome celebrations. We still have some more coming up on Saturday's core graduation celebration. We also have the non-credit graduation is next week as well. I'm probably forgetting some other things. We have the Hall of Fame, the Athletic Hall of Fame induction is next Saturday from 11 to 1. Lots of folks going into the Hall of Fame. But it has been really great getting to go to all of the graduation parties, and it's been amazing. We really do it up nice at this college, that's what I would say. And it's just great to. This is always the thing where you say, it's so great to have made it through yet another academic year. Yeah. All right. So other than that, I just wanted to focus on we're in graduation season. It's exciting, and that's all we should care about at this point in time. Okay, Laura.
So our hiring is moving forward slowly, but we're getting there. We have about 7 that we've already.
No, we have 12
Oh,
that we've already
is it include
identified.
counseling?
Yes.
Okay, that's why we're here. Thank you.
Well,
So we're moving forward. We do have some transfers that we're going to have to talk about how we accommodate those transfers because we're going to then be down with the faculty obligation number.
yeah. So when humans go from one position to another, they're not 2 people, so we're down 2. So we'll have to. So we have some. You're going to be looking at numbers.
Looking at data to bring some recommendations on where we may want to add those additional positions. So that's moving forward. Our baccalaureate program is still pending final approval. We submitted documentation to show that we are not, competing with the 4-year institutions. So I think it looks pretty good. Spring head count, we're
Just
up.
one more thing. We got ACCJC
Yes, thank you.
approval for the baccalaureate.
Yes, there are sub changes approved.
Yep.
Yeah. Keep your fingers crossed. Yeah.
Oh, it's just
We're waiting for the chancellor's
for
office.
the chancellor's office.
So they need to make sure the Cal State's DUC's evaluated that we're not competing with them. That's the last step we're waiting for.
And there's a big kerfuffle happening at
Yes.
the state around all of this. And it's kind of funny because apparently at the
the Assembly Education Committee meeting last week. The community colleges were there presenting on a variety of topics, including the bachelor's degrees, like, hey, you know, we've got these in the pipeline, they're all ready to get approved, here are all the reasons, you know, equity, we're all spread out, this is economic, you know, educational opportunity, blah, blah, blah. Well, no sooner did the community colleges finish presenting than the Cal States got up there and said, we would really like the legislature and the education committee to approve an expansion of the number of doctoral degrees that we can offer because of equity and everybody spread out. And I mean, every single argument that we had just made about community college bachelor's degrees, the CSU was making about why they should get to offer more doctoral degrees, because the 1960 Education Master Plan originally said that only the UCs could offer doctoral degrees. Cal States could, but only if it was in conjunction with the UC. So that in conjunction with the UC has gone away. They don't ever have to, I mean, I teach in 2 of them, and there's no connection to a UC. So they want exactly the same thing for their doctoral programs, which are cash cows for them, just so you know. Yes. This is about money. Yeah. Money. We're about opportunity. It's true. It's true. It doesn't cost us anymore.
Right. So anyway, it's just ironic. So apparently some folks kind of wandered over to the Cal States and said, you know, if we work together on this, it would be good for all of us. So, but anyway, it's great to know what you do. Sorry.
So very cute. Our spring head count is up about 1,800. Right now, we're at about 600 FTS above what we did last year, so we're looking good. For summer, our head count is up about 1,800. So we're moving in the right direction.
Candace?
Prepping for graduation, so all the areas are like on full alert, like they're looking at Matt, looking at Greg, because facilities, there's a lot that goes into prepping, so super excited about that work. 2 of the big sort of fiscal things that are going on right now are that I'm working on the bond, we'll be selling bonds in July, so that's when we go to market to get our first portion. It'll be about $130 million out of the 565 that we're working on. So we've got a credit presentation, we got to get rated, we get rated, they want to check our credit and give us a rating so that then when we go sell the bonds, it helps with the points percentages there. So we're doing that. So it's a lot of sort of prep work for there. They want to see how wonderful the college is. Which is good. They want to hear things like we're gaining enrollment in our FTS, and so that we're able to meet our financial obligations. So that work's going on, and then we'll start assembling the bond work groups in the fall semester when folks come back. So kind of help again with the prioritization and sort of input into what sort of phasing that we work through at the college level, and then make recommendations up through our board of trustees. Fiscal is entering into that close our budget and books process. So where the fiscal close has started. And so they're working to clear accounts and make sure that invoices are paid so that when we close our books in June, that we are able to start the new fiscal year really fresh and be able to roll over any encumbrances if we need to. So that's happening. And then we're also working on our tentative budget, which we will present out to the community in June, our normal time, and then with the adoption following in September of this year. And the last thing is just we're prepping the college or campus, at least my area, in shifting to our 410 schedules for the summer. And so there are reduced services on Fridays, so we're working with each of the areas to be able to communicate that out. For example, no shuttle service on Fridays. So we're preparing signage. We're working with David and team I touched Alex's chair because I'm just gonna tag him as David.
David.
To get that out to students so that students understand what services are not available on Fridays during this reduced schedule period. I think the library is also closed on Fridays, Laura, correct?
Yes,
Yeah.
but not until June 9th, correct?
Correct. So just, just starting to get the message out as we're sort of piloting this program, making sure that folks understand what the implications are on Fridays. There are still some things, there's some instructional pieces that will continue to happen on Friday, but we want to make sure that folks understand that a good portion of our folks are going to be taking that 3-day weekend, and then regrouping back on that Monday. So that's also work in progress.
Do you know how the messaging is going out to students? Is it text, email?
I think both. So David, I know, is going to tap Miriam on the shoulder to get some help there. But I think certainly email, I think the websites will start to adjust in terms of which services, so it's clear that they see that there. As well as then just texting campaigns for those who are continuing to be here, particularly students who are currently enrolled in summer classes. I think that will be really important.
I was gonna say it was just email.
Yeah.
Text.
Yeah.
Canvas.
Canvas too. Okay, thank you.
And Candace, can
Yes.
you share with everyone what happens in the week where we have a day off? Like, we have Juneteenth, and then we also have the 4th of July.
Yes, so if those days fall on a day that would have been a normal work day, that day just becomes, you'll just be paid off the vacation day for the 10 hours as opposed to, so like July 4th is a great example. I think that's on a Tuesday
It's on a
this year.
Tuesday, yeah.
So the college would normally be closed on that day. For employees, it'll just deduct the 10 hours for vacation, or the college pays for that. But
Yeah,
you'll be paid at the 10-hour rate versus the 8-hour rate for the holiday period during this June 12th through August 18th time period. Same with Juneteenth.
Okay, great, thank you. Brenda?
Hi, good morning, folks. Actually, we're going to piggyback off of the 410s. We're doing very similar, working with David in marketing as far as communicating out. We are going to be putting signs up. We'll have the virtual support team available on Fridays. So if students have a question, they need something, they want to get some type of service and somebody wasn't there, then they can notify us and we'll follow up with them the next business day. So we're coming up with a strategy that way. So no matter what, if they come on campus, they miss, they email me, read a lot of emails, but or they miss a text or whatever they miss, that there's at least someone that will be able to respond to them. So we're setting that system up. Other than that, this summer we'll be working on developing a internal, I would say, student services plan as far as retention, student success, how we align and support the work that's happening in academic affairs, DEI, et cetera. So that's kind of where we're at right now.
Okay, great. Carrie?
Okay, we've been working with our AB 705 partners to address interventions for the equity gaps for our math and English transfer level courses, and in doing so, identify 10 CRNs that are all set for the fall. So thank you, Lindsay. I think you're one of our English faculty. Yeah. That's going to be teaching it. We have a web page that's already up and all that good stuff. So for our students that are in our programs from CalWorks to Ujima to CORE and so forth, our identity affirming groups that are serving our Black, African American, Latinx students, they'll be invited to participate in these particular cohorts in our efforts again to mitigate and address and hopefully provide some interventions for the equity gaps that are in our math English transfer courses. So looking forward to that and looking forward to coming back to this space and hopefully sharing with you all what the fruit of that is. We received the ANAPZ funding from the Chancellor's Office, so thank you so much, Candace, for giving us that heads up. That's exciting. $162,000 that we'll receive in June. So really excited about what we can do with that fund for our for our Asian American, Native Hawaiian, Pacific Islander students. And then we are just kind of digging our heels into a micro-learning series that's focused on anti-Blackness. As we've seen, just an ongoing narrative around some concerns. And so what's really, just encouraging is that Dr. Najanis has made it a mandatory learning series for our managers. So how we're rolling that out, what that looks like, I'd love to partner with Management Association to get your support on that and your guidance. But we're really excited about the district support and looking forward to that being part of our skill set as leaders here at the institution. And then after having done so, see how we roll that out to other areas. I think that's it.
Okie dokie, great, thank you. Okay, on to our discussion of old items and possible action, DPAP 3400.
Before we start, I just want to thank the Academic Senate leadership for your work this year on the BP and AP and anti-racism, standards of scholarship, and course attendance, adds, drops, and withdrawals. That was a heavy lift. I appreciate you getting these through, and I thank you for being here today to present on those. So the first one is the anti-racism, and I believe that Lindsay and Maria will be taking the lead on that for me. I'll pop those up for you.
Thank you.
I'll start. Now, I've separated them out for you, so go ahead and tell me when you're ready to move on to you.
Yeah, so thank you again for having us. We've been shopping these around, and as some of you know, we saw the first version. It's been very polished and cleaned up, thanks to Crystal. Thank you for your help with that. We've shopped it around to all the constituency groups, Academic Senate, Associated Students, Classified, Senate, Managers Association.
Just lots of input from everywhere we can get it.
So we got lots of input.
Even
That's
from
great.
Candace and from Carrie, and
Yes.
it's been wonderful
Mhm.
support. So
Right.
yeah.
And so it's all polished up and shiny now. So we're just hoping to get an approval from you all. The Academic Senate voted unanimously. So did the Associated Students and Classified Management. Man, you could just give it to us right now. But I know you guys are busy.
Approved.
Unanimously. There we go.
So yeah, we're just hoping for your eyes to look at this, hopefully the final version, and we ask for your vote.
No, I think you said it. We just took a lot of feedback from a lot of different constituencies and tried to see every single angle, and I think we finally done it. So yeah, hopefully you agree.
And the thing that looks different, oh yes, go ahead.
This was your question.
Oh, the thing that looks different is the definitions aren't on here, because we do plan on continuing to work with Carrie and David to get that webpage going. Because we've had even more up-to-date definitions since we created this, so that was a great idea to have in this series.
Yeah.
Okay, sorry, Dr. Lopez.
Okay, yes.
A motion to approve.
Do I have a second?
Second.
Okay, any discussion?
I just want to point out that the website question, I think, is the right way to do it. I want to make sure we're really clear about ownership of that section of the site, so that we know how changes get approved. We're not looking at Carrie because your name is
Yeah.
mentioned, but just we're very clear about editing rights and who oversees that section.
I think our original conversation is that you all were okay having it live where we have existing definitions, so as long as we just are consistent with what it is that you all have and make sure that it's consistent with your vision, then that can be at least one touch point.
Any updates, I guess, will come from the committee, and we will talk to Carrie.
Okay, so, all those in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Abstentions? All right.
Now what happens to it?
So excellent question. So because this is a new BP and AP, the BP needs to be approved by the Board of Trustees before I can post either. So I will be scheduling a meeting with them hopefully in June for them to have a subcommittee meeting and then bring it hopefully to the full board in either June or July. And that says that hopefully by the fall, both will be on the website and be in play. So yay us. Yeah, good job.
Oh, and I also want to point out, this was one of the goals of College Council.
Yes.
To get it done, so yay for us.
That's right. Yes, thank you, thank you.
Okay. Yeah.
Oh, did we approve the BCN?
Yes.
Oh, I thought it was just the.
No, it's both.
Oh, well then, yeah.
It was the package deal.
It was a package.
Yep.
Thanks, Lindsay.
Done.
Thank you so much.
Thank you, Lindsay.
Thanks, Lindsay.
Okay, so now we move on to BT 4220 Standards of Scholarship.
Correct. And the Academic Senate leadership pointed out to me that this had actually already gone through them and CNI, who did the rewrite on it. I didn't realize that, but it is basically good to go. And this will also go to the board subcommittee in June.
Okay, so, do I have a motion to approve?
Move to approve?
Second? Second. Okay, any discussion? Hearing none, all those in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Abstention? All right, passes. Yay, okay, next is BPAP 5051 Assessment Services.
If I can find it. Yes, okay, so just to be clear, this is not, we are actually asking to rescind both of these because we no longer do assessment services. We no longer have an assessment services office. Now, I just want everyone to understand, just because we rescinded it doesn't mean it couldn't come back in the future if the rules all change again. It just means that we take these off the books because we're not doing it anyway. So we don't want anything out there that says this is something we actually do, because we don't. The law has changed.
Motion to approve.
Second.
Wonderful, any discussion? Okay, hearing none, all those in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Abstentions? All right, motion to rescind the existence of assessment services. Okay, next is, has often been the bane of my existence, AP 5055.
Yeah. So this one changes so frequently, it makes our little head spin.
Yep.
Oh, actually, I do not have the right version here, but I'll tell you what the right version is. It's under priority 1, and on the recommendation of the Academic Senate, it will actually say student, parents, or guardians
Or guardians.
with dependent child or children under the age of 18 will be in the priority 1 for registration. So I'm going to make sure that.
And I just want to make sure you all know there is an assembly bill right now working its way through the assembly to provide priority enrollment for all first responders. So we may be back at this in the fall.
Next.
Yep. This is statutory, which is, that's why there's the ed code right there. So do I have a motion to approve?
Move to approve? Second.
Okay, any discussion? Hearing none, all those in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Abstentions? Okay, motion passes.
Okay, so the next one we have is course attendance, adds, drops, and withdrawals. And I'm just going to say Sheila and Miriam did a fantastic job, and the subcommittee group getting this in order, but more so even walking the Academic Senate through the changes to make this a much more student-friendly, student-focused, and giving the leeway to the students all the way across the board. So Sheila,
Yeah.
please.
So-
And this is the final version because there were so many markups in it.
Yeah, but I appreciate having that because you can just tell us.
You could give us the
It was a great discussion. We had 4 reads in the Academic Senate, and it really was shared governance at work because faculty were hearing about the changes in Senate and then bringing them back to their constituents and getting feedback. And so it really was, a lot of input. So I think the most significant change is that we took out the language about tardies. So in the old policy, it said that a student could be dropped from the class if they had, so 3 tardies counted as an absence, and there was no definition of tardy. So you can imagine for a once-a-week class, a student could be tardy, right, 3 times, and that's an absence, and then the next week, next time 3 times. So basically, a student could miss a total of 6 minutes of class and be dropped, right? And so we wanted to make sure that those kinds of things weren't happening, and that there was nothing in the policy that would allow anyone to lock a student out of class, right? And so we had a robust conversation about students' complex lives, of how most of our students are taking public transportation, things like that. So it was great. The other thing is we worked with our distance education committee to get some real clarity around what non-participation by online or hybrid students were. And so we put language in there to clarify that.
Do you want me to scroll? This is actually in your packets. It's so complicated. I actually had it printed out so you guys can all read it. It's not really complicated, but there were so many really cool changes in it. So you could read the final version.
And we also worked with Terry from Admissions and Records because the old policy didn't have the right calculations for things around census and W drop deadlines. So you can see like the 66 is crossed out, it's actually 75. So we just wanted to really make sure that that was accurate. We also had some outdated language about students having to be cleared through the health services if they were out for a communicable disease. We never had that kind of reporting. And so since the pandemic, we wanted to make sure we had something that actually made sense. We also included the language about excuse withdrawal.
That's good. I'm sure that old language was tied to the TB requirement.
Probably.
Yeah.
And
And
you did these two too.
yes, we had a lot of language in there about student conduct and about auditing, but that was really repetitive because we have separate BP, APs for those, and if you make changes in that, then this would have to be updated. So instead, we were just referring folks to those other BPs and APs on conduct and auditing. And was there something at the very end? No, I think that's it.
All right. Excellent. So do I have a motion to approve?
Motion to approve.
A second?
Second.
Okay. Any discussion?
I would just like to make a comment.
Yes.
I appreciate the changes. The only class, I was a student here, the only class I got an F in was the history of opera, and that's because the professor locked the door at 7:30. So if you were not in your seat, she locked the door and you were not allowed in the classroom. So I appreciate that.
I had a constitutional law faculty member at CSUN, former Marine, who did exactly the same thing at 8 o'clock, locked the door if you weren't there, you missed it.
Yep.
Yeah.
My only F on my transcript from this college.
Talk to Miriam.
That's okay.
And Laura, I was hoping that perhaps this policy could be brought to the attention to the deans, so that if they ever have students coming with complaints about something like that, they now know that there is no language about tardies in this policy, and so there's no kind of justification for a faculty member doing that.
And I think this would be good for a department chair meeting too, because department chairs often get the first question, they're the first ones, so yeah, definitely.
Forever scarred.
Yeah, those kinds of things stay with you. Yeah. Okay, so there's a motion on the table and a second to approve AP 5075. All those in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Abstentions? Awesome. Passes.
Yes.
Okay. AP, or I'm sorry, BP.
710. Yes.
7410.
Yeah. Location of district workshops and retreats. One I've been clearly avoiding for a very long time because it was adopted in 1998 and we've done nothing since. But I made a few adjustments to it. Nothing major because now we can have female presidents, obviously. So I have to take Yeah, just saying, had to take out the is, so, that's it, very minor changes, pretty much the language is the same.
This is a pretty standard policy for most districts.
It's basically asking if you are gonna run a retreat or a district at a physical location to be in the boundaries of the district, obviously, so we give the district business.
And some of the most entertaining LACCD board meetings were around one particular college that always had their retreat outside the district boundaries. That was fun. So fun. All right, do I have a motion to approve?
Move to approve.
Second? Okay. Any discussion? All those in favor, please say aye. Aye. All those opposed? Abstentions? Awesome. Motion passes. Okay. Next is new items for discussion, possible action. We have BP 5055.
Yeah, I can't get them through at the same time, you know what I am. So this is just some language updates, nothing really spectacular.
And this came through the policy service, through the lawyers on the
Yep.
policy service.
Yes.
Okay, just check.
This is some updates they recommended.
All right.
This still needs to go through the process, so we'll make sure this gets out to
Okay,
the
wonderful.
leadership groups to take a look at if you have any questions. So it's a first read for us.
Okay. Any questions? All right. Hearing none, we'll go on to our next item, which is updated comprehensive program review cycle and structure.
Yeah, and we have guests today to help us with this. So
Oh.
yay us. So
Yay us.
we have Dr. Cully, Dr. Socrates, and Dr. Jeremiel all here to talk about this. So yay! Yay, folks!
Okay. Walk us
Go
through this
ahead.
fun.
Which one would you like to start with, the cycle or the structure?
Cycle's easier to that.
Okay, let's look at the cycle.
Do you want to talk, Jude, or?
I think I only
I
said
know we're all being shy.
Good morning, everyone.
Good morning.
Good morning.
So, yeah, this was a product of years of input from people who are no longer on AEC, but, you know, of course, they're working leaders on. So, basically, the philosophy of with this new review structure is that every unit will simultaneously do a review of all of their degrees, basically whether it's a certificate or a local AA or ADT. So it's not piecemeal, okay? And we're doing it in cycles using our learning communities. So as you can see, we have business and industry in the first year, along with health sciences and wellness, and so on. So we have 3 of those years in sequence. And then on the 4th year, we do the administrative part, the offices and all that, student services, and so on. So I guess we can go to the next.
And I was going to mention, with the unit reviews, we were also going to have the division offices reviewing at the same time. So it's the whole entity that's doing its review.
Can I ask a question?
Yes.
How does this differ, how will it impact next year?
Well, we keep updating.
I wanted to give a little history and context for the switch, and I will address your question. When we set up program review 12 years ago after a revamp, we focused specifically on the ACCJC completions because the ACCJC was very clear in saying a program is a sequence of courses that leads to a completion. And so we focused on certificates 1 year, AAs 1 year, local AAs 1 year, ADTs 1 year. And we did that for 12 years, and it was very good. There were several cycles. We did notice that often program review authors would still sort of talk about their department as a whole. And there were also instances where we had departments or disciplines that had all 3. And so they were doing, business administration was doing a comprehensive review on one of their on one of their degrees or certificates 3 out of 4 years. We retooled the structure, which is coming next, to be able to have people focus on the whole department and also be able to speak to the completions as well. And then Dr. Ramirez, how it will affect the first year is we went back and we looked at who had done an instructional comprehensive program review the furthest back, which was the CTE certificates. And we decided to start with the business and industry and health sciences and wellness career communities because they, by and large, are almost all CTE. And so they would, in a sense, be the next logical step. So we decided to start with our cycle, starting with them.
So, yeah, shall we go on with the
The structure.
Right, so this would be a structure of the program review process. So we have metrics which are going to be addressed for each of the evaluation measures there. We anticipated that the Chancellor's Office is going to ask us to disaggregate data specifically for distance education process. So that is particularly highlighted there. Yeah, maybe scroll up a little bit.
Am I going the right way for you?
Yeah.
Okay,
That's
good.
right. So yeah, there are of course many things in common with our process has been. So yeah.
And just to note that this overall structure is very similar in pattern and style to the previous structure, with the exception, as I mentioned, is that the previous structure focused specifically on a certificate or an AA or an AAT. We've modified some of the outcome language in the institution-wide outcomes that you're seeing to capture, a department discipline versus just a single program, and still be able to have authors focus on multiple types of completions. Also, we were dependent on our previous software system, which required us to break out the program review into 2 separate documents, something where you had to write measures to these things, and then another aspect of writing findings to it. And because we don't have that software anymore, we condensed and simplified the evaluation report so that authors will just have to write a metric for each of these rather than doing a measure and then finding. So it really streamlines it and takes a lot of care out of it and makes it a lot more intuitive.
Question.
Yeah.
Do we have that data already available? Like, do we already have the tableaus for the data requests that are in each of the outcomes?
For the most part, yes. Yeah, and I know that there are people in our office that are working on other things like disaggregating completions.
It's probably the distance that we'll have to work on.
Well, and we have,
I'm thinking more like curriculum is culturally responsive. Like, how would we measure that? Or how would
I think it would have to be discussed by faculty, right? So maybe the faculty will have to do, but I think it goes well with what's coming because I think they're revising what's going to be expected on program review, and it's definitely going to be expected that you have some equity-based learning, right, with curriculum. So I think it goes well with what you guys just passed. But any recommendations, then we'll take them.
There are further questions.
So this is something that can be voted on?
I just want to thank you guys.
Yes,
This
thank
looks
you.
really good.
It does.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I love the direction you've taken it. Good work. Thanks.
And the streamline,
You've
the
done
new
that.
software, that makes such a difference too.
I like the new cycle, the way you set it up.
We're really excited about incorporating the career communities. That was Dr. Romio's idea. And also, I just wanted to give a shout out that in the previous system, every non-instructional unit was together because there was a bit of a different structure and there were different questions that were asked. And because we were on the certificate AA ADT cycle, it wasn't really intuitive to have a whole division do their reviews together. But now that we're doing sort of a department comprehensive review that includes all of the completions, Dr. Garmio made the great question of, well, how about the divisions do their reviews at the same time? Their non-instructional reviews at the same time. So all the divisions will be doing reviews from top to bottom. So I think that's really
And then they get a break.
What's that?
And then they get a break. Yeah, right? That's important because you burn out, right?
Yeah.
Looking
Yeah.
at this over and over, and you need time to implement.
Yeah, and there's going to be a lot of opportunity for collaboration across the division.
One small question. I noticed outcome 4 on B is a question. Or so some of these are questions and some of these are statements. I kind of feel like it should be all one or the other. Sorry, I'm an English teacher. I can look at myself. Parallel structure matters, people.
It does, totally. I'm not an English teacher, and I agree. Parallel structure.
So you guys will work on that?
We can do that.
They'll work on parallel structure.
we can de-questionify.
Or question.
More questions. All right, so do I have a motion to approve this new process, updated process? Okay, motion, do I have a second? Okay, moved and seconded. Any questions or comments? Hearing none, all those in favor, please say aye. Aye. Opposed? Abstentions? All right, passes. Thank you.
Thank you very much.
Thank you.
See you tomorrow for graduation.
Yes. Okay. Now we're on to our special topics, accreditation, UFE.
Oh, yeah. Well, this is just a reminder that 2 years ago, I know, hard to imagine it was 2 years ago.
A long time ago.
We wrote, which was 3 years ago technically, we wrote these QFEs, one on communication and collegiality and one on focusing on our part-time students. I know Dr. Rose has been leading the part-time students focus, so yay you. Any thoughts?
Yes, so we wrote this prior to the pandemic. We know that at least half of our students are part-time, and it's more challenging for students who are not attending full-time to engage with student services. And so a lot of this QFE was directed at the idea of creating like a PCCPM program. I think that the pandemic did shift our thinking in how student services can be offered, things like the virtual support center, a lot of online tutoring that happens after hours. So I think in some ways we can speak to changes, but I think we need to look at this again and think about further efforts that can be made in order to serve our part-time students. I know that Desiree Zuniga, one of our wonderful counselors, is completing her dissertation right now. She's writing her chapter 5 on part-time students at PCC. So I think she might be an interesting guest for us to invite to hear what her findings are about the experiences of our part-time students at PCC. And perhaps we could incorporate some of her learning into how we're responding.
Thank you.
Yeah, that's great.
Yeah. And the other one is on communication and collegiality, and despite popular belief, we've actually done a lot of work on this over the last 2 years. I went back and reread what we said we'd do. Things change. But there have been a lot of really good things that have happened, like the reading circles, book clubs, tea and lemonade, the coffee chats. The Management Association has introduced the mentor-mentees. That has helped with it. Lancer Guide, Aspire PCC, the trauma-informed work we're doing. And this fall, and I've already met with my collaborators on strategic planning, we're going to talk about holding some appreciative inquiries across the campus, because apparently we're going to do that. So we're going to work on that. And
Also the presidential forums.
the presidential forums, yes, we added the forums, so that's good. We've actually done a lot more than we probably thought, so yay us. It's just getting it all collected together to write in the midterm report.
And then added management office hours. I didn't have those before.
Managers, yes, you look at this list gets longer and longer. So yes, there's been actually a lot of stuff that is in, I know the Inside Outside PCC, the Board of Trustees reports that Alex does, all of those things really help with the communication and collegiality part. Not saying we don't have a lot more work to do, we always do, but definitely we're making strides, and I just want to make sure everybody doesn't lose sight of that. There has been no stoppage in our work to improve collegiality and communication, and it is actually everyone's job. But more to do.
Good update.
All right. Are there any announcements? Are there any prayers for good luck, for good weather Yeah. All right, well, hearing none, thank you for yet another year of our college council, because we are kind of dormant, right?
Yeah, this is it.
This is it for the year, so now I know it's gonna upset you that you're gonna get this hour and a half back every month for the next 3 months, but thank you in all seriousness, thank you very much for all of your hard work and for coming and to this meeting, for all the work you do that leads up to this meeting. Pretty important stuff, and I really appreciate all of your service, so thank you.
Yeah.
See you all tomorrow.
I feel like we should have celebrate service.
You need some help. You want me to get you a card?